Good morning, everyone. And yes, I did say good morning, even though it's only 9 o'clock. But maybe that's because I didn't have to go to work. But we're going to talk about sourdough. So it's sourdough part two. Yesterday, we talked about the sourdough that I had in my crock. And it's all clean now because I needed to warm it up and then I put it in a bowl. And the crock was only filled to about here when it got taken out of the refrigerator, and I put it in a bowl, and I fed it with flour and more water, and I marked on my bowl where it was. And I don't know if you can see the shadow, but up here is where it is now. That's how much it grew overnight. And I'm going to try and show you how wonderfully bubbly it is. See all those bubbles? That is all the yeast and bacteria that got sucked in from the air last night, plus what was already in the sourdough, and it was feeding, so now it is ready for me to make bread with. And when I smell it, it has a soury, almost soury sweet taste smell to it. So I'm not going to taste it because it doesn't taste as good as it smells. So when I'm done making bread with it, I will then put what's left into my crock, and I'll put it back in the refrigerator, and it will sit there hibernating until I'm ready to make bread again. I will show you how I make bread, just not today. I wanted to show you the starter we started yesterday. And remember, I marked the jar where the top level of the flour and water, that was it. That's all we mixed together, flour and water. And then I stuck it on top of my wood cook stove, which is this. Okay. So it was way up here. So this is what's called the heating element of this stove. If I was going to cook on it, I would put my food in there and the heat coming up would keep it warm. But there was this and then here, and that's where it sat all night long. So I'm excited. Ready? It came down this morning because sometimes it doesn't work. So you always have to be like, but it worked. So it's awesome. So here it is. So this is where it was yesterday when we made it, and it grew, it doubled in growth, and it has the same bubbliness. So I don't know if you can see it. Glare is off. There we go. Maybe that you can see it there. See all those bubbles? Now this one is not as sour. It does not smell as sour because it's fresh. So this still kind of smells just like flour, but obviously stuff is going on in there because it is bubbling and it grew, okay? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to dump it all out, and we're going to cut it in half, and half of it could be used for something that doesn't involve a lot of cooking, but pretty much we're going to throw it away. And I had a bowl, and now I lost it. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. Have my bowl. And we're going to dump this out. And if I show you how it looks when you dump it out, you can see kind of gooey. You can see all the bubbles in it. So I'm going to dump it all out. Scrape it all in there. I'll clean that before we put it back in there. And now I'm going to basically take half of it out, because what we're doing is we're trying to make it stronger. So by taking half of it away and then we'll feed it again, it causes what's left to really work harder to make it more sour and more yeasty. So when I want to use it to make bread or something like that, it will have the power to do so. So this is all that's left. It's that little bit. So we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday. I'm going to get out my scale. So I discovered yesterday, I say handy dandy a lot. My handy dandy scale. My handy dandy wooden spoon. And I was going to try and stop saying it, but John thinks I should keep saying it and use it as my catchphrase. You know, like Emerald has his BAM! I could do my catchphrase. So I put it on my scale, and I have zeroed it out, so it's absolutely zero, and I'm going to use my warm water. So warm water is when you can put it on your wrist, and it's not hot, but it's not cold either. So I need to go get a rag to wipe my hands off. Okay, I'm back. Baking is a messy thing, so I have a nice wet rag here to just kind of wipe off the dough that goes on there. So I have my water, and I've zeroed out my scale, and so I'm only going to add half of what we added yesterday. So yesterday we added 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour, and today we're only going to do 50. So 50 will be about a half a cup, probably a little less. There we go, 50. Maybe even less than that. $50 grams is only like 1.2 ounces. Huh. And then we're gonna add the same amount of flour. So as magically my flour was replenished. Wonder how that happened. So I'm going to add flour, and that's all I needed to get 50 grams. And then we are just going to mix it with my handy dandy wooden spoon. And mix it up just like we did before. And then I'm going to put it right back where I put it yesterday. And I'm going to mark again where it was so you can see it grow again. And it's okay if it doesn't get completely mixed in. The flour doesn't have to get completely mixed in because that yeast and bacteria that has started to work will eat up any lumps, completely eat it up. And another great thing about sourdough is it's a natural preservative, so your bread lasts longer. So you don't need to have any preservatives added to the bread like we have in our store-bought bread. They add preservatives, which makes its shelf life last longer, so it sits on your counter and you don't have to eat it all at once. Well, sourdough bread lasts even longer than that. It won't mold as quickly, and it stays fresher because it's a natural preservative when you use it. Okay, so we have our lovely new sourdough batter that we just fed, and we're going to stick it back in the jar after I clean it. And I'm going to mark again where it is, and then tomorrow we'll see how much it grew again, and then we'll do this again. And we have to keep doing this for about 7 days in order to make sure it's strong enough so then we can use it. Have a great day.